After leaving the town under the lake, our heroes found themselves moving across the countryside until eventually they found themselves meeting up with an informant of the rat god. Okay, I see. This individual nods his head a few times, gathering all the information, the defeat of Yuko, the situation in that town, everything and anything he needs to know. You've figured out that this man's name, well, at least what he's told you, his name is Rags. You see the bushy rat tail poking out from behind him, and the slight features apparent on his still cloaked face, as he kind of looks across from each of you. Anything else? Anything important? I think you covered everything.
Yeah, I think that's good enough.
Yes, there is one other thing, which is me. I am important.
He just kind of stares forward at you. Yeah?
He's technically correct, yes.
Just hand on one hip, face palming like, oh my god.
I wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that we were.
I know you'll be in the report.
Comprehensive.
Yes, you're very comprehensive. You'll be in the report, Mr. Junior.
Thank you.
Underline his name.
Yoshihara no Junior.
He nods approvingly.
If only there was no Junior.
Underline it 3 times.
Good job with all the mountain stairs on the way up here, Hideo.
Gotta keep in shape!
Yeah, Hideo, I'm more than willing to help you with that, you know.
No, not at all. It's fine. Not a problem at all for a guy like me.
I mean, you're the strongest warrior in Raoji, so...
Hey.
Very strong, strongest warrior.
I'm Raoji's best kept secret.
Yeah, some secret.
You can put that in the report, too.
Yeah, actually, like, underline bold that if you...
Not for long, it seems.
It's alright, no one will notice your underline next to my 3 underlines. Your secret is safe.
Probably for the best.
He goes back and adds 2 more underlines. And then he puts down his notebook, pulls out a different thing, which seems to just be a slight scroll of some kind that he starts to look through, piecing together. Okay, new info. Want new info? For the mission?
Yeah, that'd be appreciated.
Okay. Rags continues looking through the scroll, his eyes beadily just darting across. Your next one's Saiko, the legendary Scholar Blade. Okay.
Scholar Blade?
Yes. Ooh. So, you actually know something about that. It is Scholar Blade is technically a title that exists right below nobility on, like, the social hierarchy of Raoji. They are individuals that have been tasked with extreme freedom to fight, serve, and generally work for the nobility, not just for fighting, but also for finding new information, going abroad, and otherwise. They are the glorious servants of the nobility in every way. Now, of course, separating a normal bodyguard from one of them is their own complete government approval and sanctifying by the Emperor himself. Yeah, Scholar Blade Saiko. You actually think you remember some other mentions of him. A mention by the Rat God back in Hirano when he was giving you information. This was the last known person before you all came up with some more leads and they've been researching on them. This Saiko, supposedly a legendary swordsman, a great warrior, one of the champions of Raoji, a famous individual, actually, some of you might have heard of him. Real tough guy. He's got a lot of people. Army. Squid army.
Right.
Indeed, one of the more fearsome Scholar Blades, I believe. Of course, my family has employed many in the past, but never Saiko. He chooses his own clients.
Is Hideo one?
Oh. No.
Yes, indeed, Hideo is not a Scholar Blade, though, he has certainly been one of the most useful and humble of servants you've ever employed, Junya.
I stand to inherit.
Indeed. He may not be a scholar, but he's certainly unraveled the mystery of... Yes.
Wow.
Junior pats him on the shoulder. Well done.
Sho pokes at her ears, wondering if they, flicked out for a second there.
Rags, twists the scroll upside down and finds his own things that he scrabbled inside of the margins, and he looks, yes. Scholar Blade Saiko has his own army. Only accepts his own job, yes. Looks at, Junya a bit. That's right. Very mysterious. Different goals. Rebelled. No one knows why. Real strange, don't you think? Well,
Yes, I never would have expected someone like him to ally with the squid. I wonder what his motivation could be.
Does anyone know what family he comes from?
Saiko. Toritomo family. That one rings a bell. It's a very infamous sword style school that, again, dates back even before the Reformation of Raoji. It is honestly a legendary style that, it seems to use not only a sword, but as a master style that incorporates multiple different weapons. It is truly a master of all style, which is a part of the fame. Someone who can master this style is truly a combatant who has just mastered combat itself.
Yeah, I'm down, let's go.
How widespread are the family themselves?
The family themselves is not actually widespread. They have at one point been widespread, but over the years they've slowly been almost picked off, taken out. See, it's a very combat-focused family, thus the fate of all of the family attempting to prove themselves. Sho is wandering off. But the issue is that in an effort to prove themselves and constantly try to claim the title, many of the family befalls a horrible fate. You know that Saiko himself doesn't even descend from the main family. He was just a very, very affluent second cousin.
But as the strongest and most worthy, it seems he's the one who inherited the position. He'll be a dangerous opponent indeed.
Yeah, be careful. Don't know what he's got with him. Might have some secret artifacts or something. Oh, yes, also, speaking of that, he kind of falls back onto his back around the chest and then just kind of rolls back up. He clicks it and opens it up. And inside, curious sight, a bunch of weapons are assembled, but this is no common assembly of weapons. Even a first glance would show the opposite of that. These are rare weaponry, fine crafted. And, Junya, as you look inside and notice a rather interesting umbrella, no, these are custom made. For you, all of you.
Ooh.
Oh, lovely! Someone's thinking of us.
Wow.
Rags reaches around and pulls out yet another note. This one's pretty small, though. He kind of, this one's from the general. The Raoji general.
Sho tried to walk away, got grabbed by Buru, and then, hit maximum extension. Then she's going to use the force, orbit around Buru like a planet, and spring her mochi-like body forward into the chest.
You know, I'm glad you got that scarf so I can reel you in, but it is gonna get you killed, probably.
Sorry, can't hear you, sword time.
You never listen.
These are certainly some fine weapons. What would the general want in exchange for these weapons?
Yeah, that's a fair point. You don't just give things away.
You two wet blankets sure know how to look a gift horse god in the mouth.
I feel like there's a little blasphemy of just making up a god like that, but, it's just one of those things when it comes to these, high-ranking officials, whether it be military, nobles, what have you. You don't give away something this nice without asking for something in return, which I'm not horribly against, just something to keep in mind.
Sometimes you find out you're bought without ever having remembered that you accepted the gift in the first place.
Rags the Rat ends up pulling out his note and taking a look of it. Gifts from General Naotora. It reads the follows. Too many words. He hands a note over to Sho, who's the closest. Please take it.
I'll take that.
Sho looks down. Yeah.
Actually, Sho, you've started learning reading under Junya. Would you like to give it a try?
Oh, you know it. Sho learned a lot of the basic words. She knows a lot of, her understanding of language is mostly rooted in the village she came from. All this weird Lancian script that's infiltrated the country, yeah! She just quickly hands it off. Nope, too hard, give up.
I think you were doing pretty good, but,
I got 5 words in.
let's see here.
Yeah, those syllables are tricky.
Who said that there could be more than one of them? That's illegal.
Yeah. Buru takes the note. What does it say?
It is a great thank you to those heroes able to take the fight to the enemies where the military cannot go themselves, weeding out evil and darkness within the country and fighting back the gods. And it seems to switch over real quickly to the general taking like a paragraph or two just going on and on about how much they wish they could be there and how great a team everyone would be with them. And it's almost a little like self-inserty. It's kind of strange. But regardless, they seem generally thankful and yeah, this person's probably an egotist, but at the same time, it seems genuine. That's just kind of what you piece together.
Digging the positivity.
Buru sees that, like, this is segmented into paragraphs. He starts that middle one and then just folds it in on itself so it's just the first and the last paragraph together. There we go. That's what it should read as.
Yep. Yeah, you do that. And it's a thank you and a gift with only the assurance that you'll allow her to meet you one day. And perhaps share a fine drink.
Okay, that part I can get behind. The rest of that garbage.
I like the rest of it. It was exciting. Show puts up a fist.
Buru hands it back to her. Well, since it's got a little motivation for you because it's so riveting, why don't you use that as a practice sheet for reading on the trip?
She looks at all the long words. Okay. She takes it and tucks it away, wilting slightly.
He just gives her a little noogie. You're gonna do great. And besides, if you keep avoiding this, like your family, it's just gonna bite you in the ass.
I can meet for a drink. I start looking through the chest for weapons.
Yeah, you find looking in the chest, you're like, oh, this is pretty useful. Some weapons would be good for, you check around. So given to you was a very excellent sword, a long katana that's perfectly well crafted, pretty large, pretty burdensome, honestly.
Yeah, this is a pain in the ass.
You notice, given to Sho and addressed to her, is a lot more stealthy, sneaky weapons. Weapons that you assume the general would think would be most comfortable for an ex-bandit Ronin-esque individual. There are a lot of these kind of weapons in there. None of them are addressed to you. All of them are addressed to Sho and Buru.
Hey, where's the big sword? She's like,
I think I got it.
Do you wanna trade?
Oh my, are you seriously gonna re-gift this?
Yes.
Yeah, I won't stop you.
Junior, you find a fantastic parasol inside. The parasol itself is designed with a unique bunch of designs of the battles that this general has fought, all inscribed on the top of them.
Oh.
It's a history piece.
Living history, I say. He flips it around in his hands. And it's well balanced, too. Well, you're going at the front. He sticks it in with the rest.
I must say, like, all of this, all of these weapons that they gave you really don't suit me either, but this thing's frankly too large. I've always used a smaller sword just because it's easier to use with my quickness.
You are pretty quick.
And I look over, like, what kind of weapons are these?
Well, there are some throwing knives and some, trick weapons, along with just, a few, like, smaller knives and miniature swords. Just real, like, simple short sword stuff.
Oh goodness, I don't know if I'd know how to use any of these. Looks at a lot of the trick weapons and before and like as it looks like Hideo is putting them down, they're actually just gone from his hand.
Oh,
Take weapons? All good? Everyone good?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, fantastic.
I could be mistaken, but it appears Hideo did not receive any.
Oh, I've got this one. I've got the one. I pull out, like, the longest short sword among them. Pull it, unsheath it just a little bit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty nice.
Oh, good. I didn't want you to come away empty-handed. Very mysterious, actually. There were quite a few between the two of you. But
I don't think so. Pretty sure it was just the two.
Yeah, I don't know what you're seeing, Junior, and I've only got 50% of my vision.
Sho's holding her overly large sword now. Thanks. Owe you one.
Rags closes the chest, kind of drags it very, very slightly. He's kind of having trouble with it. He just kind of puts it down later. He sits back on top of it. Okay, that's it. Only have Saiko information. Have more, but they're all gone. Different places, hard to find. Go back to the capital. I think we'll have more then.
ooh,
Sounds good.
Yes,
Capital, huh? Looks over at Junya.
yes. Well.
Problem?
Oh, no. Of course, the world is my domain, and I may come and go as I please, and frequently do.
Okay. Rags scurries off of the chest, and then just starts dragging it again. I have places to be, things to sell, goodbye. He notices there's a bush there. Fuck.
Hey,
Please.
do you want me to, like, help you get started at least?
No,
Like I can.
no.
Oh,
I got
all
it.
right.
Just you go. No, please.
All right. Oh, here, let me get out of your way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you do it, buddy. Thanks again. Okay, this is let's go. This is uncomfy now. Out of curiosity, what did Buru pull out?
You found a rather incredible Tetsubo. In fact, there's a note inscribed with your Tetsubo, kind of hanging out of a small little piece of it. Like at the very end, there's like a ring. A special little note gift card is assembled there. And the general has left a special note for you. I've read about your secret Tetsubo, and I've made the closest approximation I can, this time out of real good steel, imported. Please, I hope you enjoy it.
Buru just kind of cocks an eyebrow. Interesting. And he puts it on his back so he can maybe dual wield Tetsubo. Junior, you alright there?
I think he's sick. He's been making that noise for like the last 2 minutes.
Yes, everything's fine, Buru. I appreciate your concern. Sure, I've got a problem.
Buru just kind of like tugs at his beard. What a mysterious yes. Hideo, you seem to understand those mysterious yeses pretty good. Can you elaborate?
My guess is that, Junya doesn't want to go back to the capital.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Junior, what's the problem?
Shh. Show I'm in terrible trouble.
What's up?
I can't set foot in the capital. He turns away dramatically, hair billowing in the wind. In exile. And
you turning away dramatically gives Sho a completely perfect view of these two, who are both staring with blank expressions at the pair of us.
Buru's like cleaning his ear with his pinky, just very carelessly.
somehow, in order for us to complete our mission, I will have to re-enter the capital under false auspices. But
oh, do you need a disguise? I'm pretty good at that, I guess.
Yes, precise. That's this sort of expertise is exactly why I turned to you. For you see, as much as I would choose to rely on my good friend Hideo for such a task, his reputation is simply too grand. Wherever he goes, he is like a beacon. All eyes are upon him. He could never possibly pass me unnoticed into the city.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm afraid I wouldn't know anything about disguise even if you'd asked.
Buru just like leans down to Hideo. I don't know if you're the greatest con artist or he's the dumbest noble you've ever met, but bravo either way.
One helps the other tremendously.
Sho kind of nods along, thinking to herself, "Oh, yeah, no, I can help with that. What got you exiled from the capital?" Oh, there's that noise again.
I was the victim of malicious invective and slander and unjust decision by no less than the Emperor himself.
Show started when you started saying words that had the intonation of "people were mean to me." She reaches down for her sword and just goes, "Oh, you want me to beat someone up?" And then you go the Emperor and she goes,
Indeed. I'm afraid this is one problem that cannot be ended through such methods. I could never stain my hands with that man's blood, much as I despise him. No, he must answer for his crimes, and he shall in time. All will know of the miscarriage of justice that was visited upon myself and my family name. But today is not that day.
She was completely wrapped up, not in what you're saying even a little bit, but the intonation and emotion. She's like nodding along, like her eyes are lighting up, like yeah. And then today is not that day, and she's like, oh, okay.
No. As much as I hate to admit it, for now I must... His lip curls up as if he hates forming these words with his mouth. Lie low.
I understand that this is probably pretty hard for you, but I think if you do it, you'll come out a stronger person, Junya.
I believe you are correct. I learned many invaluable lessons from our time together on the mean streets. And so I ask you to do me that service again.
Yeah, just like old times. She smiles. Don't try to throw a punch again, though. You broke your wrist last time. That was bad.
Oh, it was just the worst.
Ugh. Alright, well, let's hit the road.
Yeah. You want me to... at all?
Oh, no, it's fine. It's good for my cardio.
Right, kiddo.
Yes, indeed. I can provide further assistance.
Crawls under the wagon and holds onto it like a vampire.
I must not be seen in the capital!
Junya buries himself under a bunch of boxes in the cart and attempts his best to be unseen.
Yeah, even though we're like days travel from the capital still, he's like, oh, I gotta start practicing and Metal Gear Solids into these crates.
Regardless, though, Saiko lies north of you, and you may begin your journey, departing off to the castle itself, where your greatest foe in this entire journey awaits you. An old man, sickly, sits in his house, finishing up with his stove. He's prepared a nice medicine for himself. He takes a sip, tries to get it down. He stands again and begins moving. Shuffling along with the medicine in his hand, he once more attempts to depart inside of his house, taking the steps on his lonesome through the inside. He continues moving along inside of his house, the medicine in his hands, trying his best just not to fall over. He always seems to get the shakiest this late at night. Regardless, he opens up his door and then steps on inside of his little, just humble abode, his tiny little study. He finds himself cramped with books. One of his swords sits beside him on the desk, as he has a lamp. The rest of his dinner is prepared, as he places it down, along with his medicine. Another calm evening, another slightly depressing evening, but he still finds peace with himself, taking a drink and enjoying his dinner. His thoughts drift to the others in his life. He contemplates how his family is doing. He thinks often a lot about them, his friends and others, yet, again, not much he can do. After taking a few bites of the rice, he coughs a bit. As he coughs, he notices in his hand tiny little droplets of blood, the red staining onto his palm. I wish medicine tasted better. He drinks it down again. Ayana, what did you make this out of? Oh. He, regardless, drinks it down. And, as he drinks, his senses are still alert as ever, despite his body slightly failing. Though his hands are slow and shaky, and his body frail and hardly his full peak physical form as he was in his past as a jellyfish swordsman, he still hears just fine. So when he hears the creak at his door, in the middle of the night, he knows something is quite wrong. Very suddenly, he reaches down for his sword, but as he moves so suddenly again, he coughs some more. Coughing onto the floor, he finds himself just struggling, stammering around and trying to grab his sword. As he hears footsteps growing closer, he shoves it under the desk and tries to seem mostly unaware, drinking down the medicine as best he can as his eyes go blurry. And when he looks up, he sees a figure by the door. A figure that is far, far larger, far more than he expected. She almost breaks the entirety of the door slides themselves, stepping on through. She has to be close to 9 feet tall? As she moves in through the door, her head basically just scraping against the roof, as she dips on inside. Good evening, Mr. Swordsman. He stumbles on back, scammering against the wall. He's like, She towers over him. My apologies for stumbling in so late, but I'm afraid I have no other way of moving around without gathering too much attention. It's rather difficult being so noticeable. Who are you? Did I frighten you? My apologies. I assure you I mean you no harm. I am just a guest. My name is Emin Jagara. Would you mind if I take a seat? She does so, as the jellyfish swordsman stands, or kind of just huddles against the wall very lightly. His food kind of assembled as medicine spilt upon the floor. More and more blood is pooled up onto his wrist as she just kind of stares over him. Are you doing okay? Oh, how rude of me. Obviously you aren't. She moves forward, on her knees, sitting forward in a proper sitting position. She is still barely avoiding her head touching the roof, as she kind of hovers over him. You don't seem to be doing too well. It's why I came to visit. I heard the jellyfish swordsman had simply been plagued with something absolutely terrible. A curse, they call it. You... Why do I sense something far, far worse than your humble physique? She looks at him. His words seem to be coughed out. A few of them seem to be missing, making his sentence almost come off a little strange, as if he wants to say something else, yet the poetic words go unfinished. And she looks down. I'm afraid you must be referring to this. She moves her head, and as she does so, her hair seems to shimmer like a liquid surface. Yes, I'm afraid I'm not quite human. But do not worry. I seriously do not mean you any harm, Mr. Swordsman. In fact, I've come to offer you a deal. He has many questions. All of them seem to be caught up in his throat. Regardless, he notices just how generally outmatched he was. He gets a feeling. He's very skilled at reading people, understanding the way people are as swordsmen, their character, their morality. And in all ways, this woman seems different. Powerful, foreboding, and capable of doing just about anything without regards of mortal means or morality. Who are you? Not just the name. What are you doing? She glances around the room slightly, and then turns back to him. Well, as I told you, I'm Imanjagara, and my purpose here is simply to overthrow that which is unrighteous, to take vengeance for all of those who were shoved under an unfair boot, just like you. He kind of looks at her, noticing again the shimmering quality of her hair. He also notices a slight pooling of black inky substance at her legs, as if her very dress seems to be leaking some sort of essence, some sort of liquid to it. Oh, right. He's well aware enough of the events of society. All he can do is simply hear the words of those higher-up friends he has, keep up with the news. And this is a case of something he does know. He remembers the stories, the Squid God, the Return, all of these things. And as he stares forward, his hand very lightly, moving almost about an inch a minute, is slowly creeping under the table to where his sword lies. He has nothing to talk about, yet he should, just for the sake of his own life. So he brings up some conversation. He asks a question just about the last thing he heard. Oh, I need help? I mean, obviously, but what are you gonna do about me? I'm just an old man with a horrible curse, and I have trouble going to sleep, and I'm honestly just really wishing you'd just leave me alone. The woman, Imanjagara, lets him finish before taking a moment to consider him. It's not... If you need something to kill a curse, I have a cure for you. Though, I do not need to. I infer enough. I infer the fact that you do not trust me. Why would you? I'm a mysterious stranger that bursted into your home, after all. She, reaches inside of her robe slightly and, pulls out a slight object. And putting it down at his feet, it seemed to be some kind of broken relic of some kind. Some kind of old child's toy? It's rather strange. I've been recruiting, and I've gathered quite a lot of friends who have a similar opinion of the corrupt state, the terrible nature of this country, this place we live in. I believe if you simply knew the truth, you would agree with us. So I've come to cure you and tell you about what truly is going on. He stops a bit. They said it again. Big luck finding a cure. My wife's actually been working on that for a while now. Nothing yet. She stares at him. A cure is just within reach. He notices something. As, she raises her hand, it was gloved, a black glove. Just simple, something rather easy to put on. Nothing too mysterious, except for the fact that after looking at it again, he realizes that, oh, that wasn't a glove at all. That's her hand. An inky, bloody hand simply dripping with this foul miasma of just gassish ink that seems to form in the liquid then back to gas. It's just a pain to look at. And as she puts it back, her other hand emerges from her kimono, and She points a single finger. One finger upon her hand seems to be made of flesh, the same kind of almost ghostly white that seems to decorate her own body. The rest of the fingers, however, are that same pitch ink black. This is the cure, right here. She reaches her finger up, puts it in her mouth, and with a grisly chomping bite, she tears the finger from her flesh, blood spurting out, splashing across her face, and then she just simply spits out the finger again into her palm of her hand, showing it to him. She then reaches over and drops it into his rice. It seems to sip inside. The ink and the blood that sips out of it seems to mix like almost soy sauce inside of the rice itself. The jellyfish swordsman looks confused, and then he gets the concept of what she's saying. All you need to do is eat. Are you kidding me? That's... Lady, I think you're... He kind of scoots to the side. His hand's almost at there. I think you're a little nuts. Perhaps. Though, I wouldn't say that I'm wrong. You've noticed it yourself, haven't you? The godly powers unable to take away disease? What, a curse? You can't tell me you truly believe that the gods simply can't take away something as simple as... She leans a bit forward. A bit of a cough? He, kind of sits back a bit, glancing at her, glancing at her hands, glancing again at his food. You're saying that whatever this is can cure that? Yes. And it'll give you answers, too. All you have to do is take a look at that. She points down at the hand. Use that special Winrose power of yours. And then everything will become clear, won't it, jellyfish swordsman? Yeah. Pretty simple. He, reaches forward. But... Suddenly, with a strike, he raises forward, his sword lifting up. He darts forward, using all of the energy available in his slight frame. Despite that, his skill is still immense. He moves forward, the sword exiting the hilt, and he slices across her chest, bringing the sword all the way to bear, completely crossing the room and landing next to his chest. However, the landing is not as clean as this. He stumbles up against the chest and the wall. The inky blood pools on his sword. And as he turns around, he notices her. She seems to not even have taken a scratch? No, that's wrong. What's inside of your body? She looks at him, simply gazing at him once more. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm afraid I'll have to just... She stands up slightly. Kind of getting on one knee and one leg, her head again pushing against the root. You just don't understand, and I understand why. After all, Oni are rather considered something of an evil class of beings. Oh, but how wrong that is. Let me show you something. She reaches down again, grabbing onto this child's toy, moving it in front of him. He goes forward once more to swing his sword, however she grabs it, and the sword arm of the jellyfish swordsman is stopped. Stopped by a bare hand. Oh, how legends fall. Yet, twisting him up, lifting him off the ground, barely standing on his tippy toes, he manages to meet her directly in the face, and he raises up his sword one more time, attempting to bring it down, but her grip is too strong. And as he stares her directly in the face, he notices something. As this toy gets closer to him, this childhood gift from a mother to a daughter, something seems to emit a gaseous, terrible stench that he can see. Smells of blood, death, and sulfur. A terrible experience, something awful. He can see the memories seeping off of this. And beyond that, he begins to see something more. Something terrible. Something beyond mention. And then something else. Something that ties back into his own life, his own legend, his own family. he begins to see the truth. The truth of the gods. The truth of Raoji, its founding. And beyond that, he begins to see the truth of his own illness. His eyes widen slightly. See? We're her friends all along. I know you'll understand. Just keep looking. She shoves it closer. As it touches his skin, he feels his heart skip a few beats, as suddenly he's dragged deeper and deeper into this terrifying just hell of a memory. And as this continues on, Imandragora stares down. She stares at the jellyfish swordsman, yet none of these touch her, none of these memories reach her. Her mind, her presence, her very body is an anathema to this kind of thing. Yet she knows. She sees the face. With everyone she's told this to, with everyone she's seen. In the end, they all come to her side. And with the last digit of her finger as offering, finally she has her 10th arm.